Hello there, and thank you so much for joining me for another tutorial. I'm Erin Eno, and today we're going to be painting these really simple watercolor flowers using just two colors. We're using one common color throughout and then a variety of different colors just to see how those combinations go together. If you do like this tutorial, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and also drop me a comment in the comment section. It really helps out my channel. And if you want to see more tutorials like this one, please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Now grab your paints and let's get started. So today I will be painting in my Artistico watercolor pad. It is a cellulose paper. It's 140 pound. I have my Royal Talens Van Gogh paints in my palette, jar of water, and a paper towel. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to be using one brush. I've got my grabby detail brush in a size 1. So just a small, tiny round brush is all you need for this painting. And I just want to tell you how I came about playing around with these flowers. I just play around in my sketchbook a lot, and I came up with this kind of little process of just doing two color flowers using one common color, and that is going to be my favorite color, or one of my favorite colors, which is sepia. And I just thought I wanted to see how well it went with other colors in my palette, and I was quite happy, and I thought you guys might want to have a look at this and give it a go on your own. So for the first flower, I'm going to start with some Payne's Gray. Now some Payne's Gray paints are a little on the blue side. Mine's not too blue. It's got a little hint of blue in it, but not too much. So I'm going to start and just put a few dabs of this Payne's Gray down. Okay, then I'm going to rinse off my brush, and I'm just dragging my brush along the edge of my jar. I don't know if you can see that. Just a couple times just to get the bulk of the water off. Of course, it's a small brush, so it doesn't hold a lot of water. And then I'm just going to do these kind of dragged out, rough, loose flower petals. Some are darker, obviously. Some are going to be lighter. There's no rhyme or reason. Just keep it loose. Just like that. And don't play around with it too much. Just let it do its thing there. And we'll just let it sit and move on to the other flowers, because we want this to dry before we put a second layer on. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to do a different color, and I think I will try, let's just go in with a bright pink, and I'm going to use carmine here. That's a lot. I did not mean to do maybe that much. We'll just dip in and get some of that carmine, and we'll do the same thing. We'll just tap some dots down like so, rinse off your brush, and just drag out these loose petals for our flowers. Again, I can't stress enough how much you're not really thinking about this. You're not going, oh, let me get this perfect petal shape. You're just doing these rough, loose flowers. So there's a nice pink one. Maybe we'll throw in a blue one. I think I will try some, you know what, let's do Viridian, turquoise green. And we'll plunk one over here. So we'll get those dots down. They're not really dots. Dots, lines, squiggles. Call them what you want. And we'll just drag this out. And because I want such a variation in these colors, you'll see that I keep rinsing my brush off, okay? Just like so. Again, not too concerned about the shapes, just getting these kind of really loose petal shapes. Abstract, really. Now maybe we will try a yellow one. Let's try yellow. I'm going with Azo Yellow Medium. Do the same thing. Now because this is such a light color, you want to make sure you're using enough yellow. So you might want to use a little more than some of your brighter colors, because I want to drag the yellow out so you do see it towards the outer edges. Okay. Because it will dry lighter, of course. And just by nature, yellow's a little harder to see on a white sheet, so you want to make sure it's got enough substance there. Now let's maybe try, let's see, there's 4. Let's try a cerulean blue, which is very bright. My cerulean blue is very bright anyway. And we'll tap some here. I'm not worried too much about composition, but you want it to be, you know, semi-balanced, reasonably balanced. I'm not thinking of a full bouquet composition, but I want the sheet to be balanced. Just like so. And because we're using such a small brush and not putting a lot of water down, these should dry very quickly, or reasonably quickly, especially on a cellulose paper. Then maybe I will try an orange. I don't have a true orange in my palette. I've got Permanent Red Light, which is very orange. And maybe we'll plunk one over here, like so. Again, whoops, that's not quite enough water. Drag out our little petal shapes. I think I'm going to put just a little bit more down. Just pull it out a little bit more. The beauty of using a small brush like this is you have more control about pushing and pulling the paint around. It's not just going to flood out on you uncontrollably. Now to me this just looks a little on the weak side, so I'm just going to add a little bit more in. I don't want to overdo it though, but I just want to make sure that you can see that orange. And then, do we have room for another color? Yeah, I'm going to try, I think I'm going to try Prussian blue. See what that does. Maybe we'll plop it up here. You don't have to try all these colors. You can just try a few on a practice sheet if you want, and then do, you know, a page of flowers with just your 2 favorite combinations, or maybe even just 1. Like so. So now I'm going to go back to the Payne's Gray. Actually, you know what? These are still a little damp, so I'm just going to dry them quickly with my heat tool to make sure they're perfectly dry. Okay, so now that these are good and dry, we're going to go in with our Sepia now. And I'm just going to plunk some over here because that's all we're going to use now till the end of the video. And I'm just going to use the same brush, and I'm just going to put some dots in the middle of the first flower. And then we're going to take all the pigment off our brush, just go in with our wet brush now and just do the same thing, only we're not covering the entire petal, we're just dragging some of this sepia out. And because this is a non-cotton paper, you don't want to work at it too much because you could end up reactivating the colors underneath. And that's what we don't want. We want this kind of loose layered effect. And you can go beyond the petals that you've already laid down, just so some of that sepia really comes out. Just like that, just simple. We'll go under our pink flower, same thing. Just a little bit of sepia in the middle, not too much. Rinse your brush off. And just drag it out. Again, don't play around with it too much. You can have some harsh edges. You can have some sepia go beyond just on its own there, past where you had your initial petals, if that makes sense. Maybe a titch more on this guy. So I'm just kind of pushing it and manipulating that sepia, but I find my biggest issue sometimes is overdoing it, so I'm going to stop there. We'll go into this blue one here. Just push and pull that sepia around. Just like that. Now we'll go down to the yellow one. Now the yellow one I have to be careful. I don't want to cover up too much of the yellow. I'm actually going to lay my brush flat and see what that does. That's kind of a nice effect. Just squiggly. I seem to use the term squiggly a lot. There, I like that one. Now we'll go, I forget which one was done next, but it's okay because they're all basically dry at this point. So you get little areas of the sepia kind of on its own, and then the sepia overlapping the colors underneath, and that's why you get all these kind of interesting effects and an interesting kind of layered look. Just going to put a little bit more in there. Drag it out just a little bit. And I'm going to take my own advice and not play with it too much. We'll do this blue guy down here. try to maintain some of these like kind of little harder edges. You don't want to just blend it out and have it all be soft. You really kind of want that sepia to not overtake, but have enough presence. Now we're down to our last orange one. And you'll see that I'm cleaning my brush off frequently because I don't want to just be going over it with like a muddy kind of flat wash. You want to be going in with a clean brush and just pushing and moving that sepia around. Just going to tap a little bit more in towards the edge on this one. So we're done with our flowers. Now we can join these up with some stems. You can do stems and leaves. I think I want to just do, well, I don't know. I'll start with some stems and we'll see. And I don't want stems to every little flower. I kind of want to join these up as kind of like maybe a vine kind of flower. So I'm going to use this brush. I may switch to my size. No, actually, you know what? I'm just going to stick with this. And all the flowers are kind of over here, so I think I want to start a little stem from this bottom corner. And I want a main stem, and I'm going to take that up to this flower up here. And then I'm going to have all these little branches come off to the other flowers. And I'm just using very light touch here. You don't have to think about this too much. Maybe this one can be coming up under here to this guy. That was a little thick. That's okay. And then I don't like real harsh edges coming up to the flowers. So I'm just gonna kind of go in with a damp brush and just kind of soften up the very tip where they hit the flowers, just to keep those edges kind of soft. And if it looks wonky, you can just go in and tap it up a little bit with your paper towel. I just don't want a dead stop where that stem hits the flowers. Just don't want it really abrupt. And then I'm trying to decide if I just want to do leaves or little kind of viney curlicues. So I think I want the curlicues. So I'll do those and then decide if I want to put leaves in after. So we're just going to do these little vines. That one was a little thick. That's okay. I get out of the habit of using the very tip of my brush, which is what I need to be doing here. Just like that. A few more of these. We'll have this one come down a little bit. Maybe a little one off of this guy. Like that. You could even do some kind of peeking out from behind some of the flowers. Maybe we'll do one peeking out of this sky, but I'm just trying to do the lightest touch on these. And I think I will add in just a few little leaves. I don't want these quite as dark as the vine though, so I'm going to water it down a little bit. Do some leaves off of here. Just some small, delicate leaves. So I'm just doing some fine, delicate leaves. I don't want them to overtake everything else. So I do want them to dry a little lighter. Maybe not that light. I'm not going to do too many, just a few. Because my brush is so small, I'm actually painting the shape of the leaves. I think if I just did the, light pressure, heavy pressure technique, that they wouldn't be the right shape. And then just to finish things off, we're going to go back in with some really thick, highly pigmented sepia and just tap some in the middle. Some of the flowers are so dark you don't really need to do this, but just some of them I just want to have that little bit of contrast in the middle. You could use black for this, but I'm just trying to keep this to the two-tone flowers. And that's it. There's our simple two-tone flowers using sepia and various colors. So give this a try and see what color combinations you come up with. I highly recommend sepia. If you don't have it in your palette, it really is a must color. I use it all the time and just love it. So you can see it works well with almost any color combination, because brown is earthy and colors from nature always go with everything. So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and that you found it helpful, and I hope you will give this one a try. Thanks so much for joining me and supporting my channel. Take care, and I'll see you next time.